keep finding myself in the same cycle, creating content and being on top of my content calendar to suddenly scrambling to keep up again. I hate it so much. I feel like I'm spending more time creating and planning content and recording and editing it than I'm actually spending on growing my business. So I realized that the culprit was my content creation workflow and that it was holding me back. I made a few tweaks and I can really already see a massive difference. So if you're in the same boat, stick around because maybe you'll learn something that will save you from making the same mistakes that I did. Welcome back to my series where I'm improving my small business as I scale and learn. Last week you saw me improving my content creation system, which will be the backbone of my content creation workflow, which we're tackling today. The main reason I am tackling this is because I feel like I'm constantly in the cycle of creating content and planning it, and I just never feel on top of things, and it's really frustrating. I would rather channel my energy into growing my business, learning a bit more about my craft so I can serve my clients better, and I just don't enjoy the content creation process as much, even though I do recognize how important it is for any business in this day and age. So I want to make it a bit more frictionless for myself and just enjoy it a bit more. Now, if you've watched any of my videos before, you know before I improve anything, I have to first go and analyze it. So the first thing I naturally did is to go look at my current content creation workflow. I'm just trying to write down what I normally do to kind of get my content creation going. So what my content creation workflow looks like at the moment is that I am brainstorming ideas on social media, or I'm doing social listening throughout the week a little bit. Then I plan content maybe the week before I actually want to schedule it. Then I set up my camera somewhere in the week if I have free time, record my content, and then in the subsequent days after that, I try and edit a bit every single morning. And then once it's done, I basically give myself a day or two of a break from it. Then I review it. I create a thumbnail, a description, and then I schedule everything. But this is like not the worst workflow, but I really do think it can be improved. And one thing I noticed when I did this is that I am basically brainstorming a lot throughout the week and putting a lot of my ideas down on my content creation calendar. But then when it comes to planning and actually recording everything, it is a bit all over the place. And I'm basically doing it whenever I have a moment to do it because I am doing my 9 to 5 alongside building this business. So I don't always have a set day where I can record or a set day where I can plan for like a full 8 hours. The other thing I noticed that I am also not really doing very well is that I am also editing haphazardly and I'm not really following a strict order of business or actually giving myself good shot lists or anything to create content.
So what I did to help reflect on what I'm doing is I use Canva whiteboard and I put everything related to my content creation process on a little sticky note. Then I grouped like tasks together and I asked the Canva AI to sort every single sticky note and basically group it for me. Why I did this is to try and see if I'm missing a link or missing some tasks that I could be batching together. So the whole idea here is just to see where I can save time by preventing myself from doing the same task repeatedly, and it's also just to see if there's any way I could be improving the steps in my workflow and if I'm maybe doing something on step 5 that should actually be done in step 1. And this process was really good for me to do because I realized that what I'm doing at the moment is I'm brainstorming and planning on separate days, and that is fine, but maybe I could be batching my planning. And what I also noticed is that I'm not planning a shot list at all, and this is causing some chaos for me when I am trying to record my content on one day because I don't have everything planned and I sometimes miss B-roll. I also thought about planning my filming a bit better so that I only have to set up my equipment once and then get myself camera ready once. And on the same day, I could perhaps be filming my B-roll and the long form video and its corresponding short. I also noticed some things I could be doing better in my video editing process, and there are just a few things I saw here that really sparked some inspiration for a better workflow. And of course, now it is time to look elsewhere for improvements. I first put my entire workflow in ChatGPT, explained my pain points, and asked it to give me some recommendations. I also included some ideas that I thought I could do to improve my workflow, but I wanted to see if there's anything I'm missing.
But obviously, again, knowing me, you know that I didn't leave it at that. I did some research of other content creators just to see what they do. Maybe there's a tip that I haven't thought about yet, and maybe there's something I can learn that I can apply to my business. The first thing I decided to implement or improve my content creation workflow is to implement a set planning day once per month. So a few people suggested that you do this once a quarter, but I also heard from a lot of other creators that if you are just starting out, maybe it's better to do this once a month because you still need to learn your audience, get to know their pain points, improve and hone in on what you are trying to say and sell. so that you can have a better package. So what I decided now is that I'm going to do one content creation planning day per month, and maybe that will have to be a Saturday for now, or maybe I can do it over 2 days during the week. But I really need to, at the beginning of the month, kind of plan all my content for the rest of the month, so it makes it easier for me to create all my B-roll and so forth. I also realized that I don't have a very good content strategy, and I think that this will help me out a lot, because then maybe I can have a monthly strategy, and I really think this will help me to also come up with better content ideas, tell a better story on my social media, and also link my YouTube and Instagram a bit more. I think in the past I mentioned that I feel that my YouTube and my Instagram are very disjointed, because my Instagram is a bit more, here's my journey, I'm telling you how I'm improving my business, where my Instagram was a bit more, I'm the expert, this is what I know, this is how I can help your business, and I'm trying to kind of tell my story more and bring those two spheres a bit more together. The second thing I want to implement is to have a dedicated filming day, or maybe a filming week, where I try and film all my things or related content in one week or one sitting, or maybe every second week. And what I want to do also is to film a long form video on the same day as I'm filming the corresponding shorts. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating a long form video, and then maybe on another day I'm creating a reel, and then on another day I'm creating another reel, and it just feels a bit disjointed, and I feel that the messaging I'm bringing across to social media is also a bit disjointed. And then also start repurposing content. So I also want to take these long form videos and start cutting out relevant pieces, or actually extracting valuable information that can be repurposed into a reel or a short on YouTube. And this should also cut down the time I'm spending on creating so much content. I'm also going to try and reduce my editing time, or maybe have a dedicated week for editing instead of constantly editing the week before, because I also find that a bit stressful. I always feel like I'm on the clock to edit, and I really don't like it. Or maybe every 2 weeks I create the next batch of 2-week sets of content, because then maybe for 1 week I can really focus on my business and my education and growth a bit more. The one thing that I'm going to do that I think people may find a bit controversial is that I'm going to make more use of the spontaneous moments in my life. So what I mean is I'm going to try and record a bit more during my day or during my week. So if I'm working on something, create B-roll at the same time. If I'm setting up, maybe film how I set up. If I'm making a tea in the evening, maybe record that. Take some photos while I'm out with friends. The whole idea here is to create one place, or to dump some like B-roll content, anything that I can repurpose for long form videos. And I think it will kind of help me to romanticize the journey as well, if I'm keep on looking for something beautiful to see. What I think some people will say is that maybe I'm working all the time or not switching off, which I also used to have this opinion. But I do think some spontaneous clips and some content creation can be done very passively. Like if I'm just working, to put up a camera for a few seconds is not going to make such a big difference to me being productive during that task, because maybe I just need to film for the last few seconds or the first few minutes of that task to get some B-roll. One other thing that I'm really going to be strict on is also to have a metrics or analysis day. I feel that at the moment I'm just posting content and kind of seeing what works, but I'm not being very strict with myself or dedicating real time to looking at whether or not content is working. So maybe towards the end of the month, I am going to think of having a metrics or analysis day where I really look at the content I posted the month before and how it is performing, what is resonating with my audience, where am I getting more views, likes, comments, where am I seeing my content is being pushed out to followers and non-followers, things like that. And I'm thinking of doing this the day before my content planning day, or a few days before my content planning day, because I think that will really help steer what kind of content I should be planning for the rest of the month. The other thing I'm also doing that, again, may be a bit controversial, is to constantly look for ideas. When I'm speaking to clients, maybe take note of their pain points. If I'm speaking to other creators or creatives or anything like that that is in my network with building businesses or entrepreneurship, keep listening to what they are saying. And sometimes when you're on a walk or something like that, an idea just comes to you, or when you're showering, or when your brain is in its relaxed state. So I am going to keep on taking note of this and putting these ideas down. And also what I've been doing lately is when I'm supposed to be not relaxing, but if I find that I'm doom scrolling, I actually just switch to my business account and then I kind of doom scroll there, and it actually sparks a lot of ideas for me. What I've also done is then save these ideas and inspiration into a special folder in my Instagram or on my phone. And this way, whenever I'm looking for ideas or feel inspired, I already have a place to go to instead of just scrolling aimlessly through Instagram. And I also even made it quite specific. So sometimes it's like an idea for editing or for hooks, or sometimes it's an idea for the way somebody presented something. So I use all of these things to help me brainstorm so that on a content creation planning day, I don't have to go look and scroll through Instagram or social media, because I find that you do get distracted. Even if your intention is to go and brainstorm for ideas, social media is made to keep you scrolling and to keep you there. So it might actually extend your brainstorming session to much longer than you thought if you are constantly scrolling on your content creation planning day. So I just kind of take a passive task where I would be relaxing and scrolling through social media to my business doom scrolling, and I find that is helping at the moment. But maybe I'll change this, because I also think at some stage you should just cut off your social media. Relaxing is also very important for this, and I definitely want to do that as well, because that also gives you time to process things and to make your own new ideas and to have your own opinions and things. And I would say that is also part of my workflow, to make time for myself to relax, to make time for myself to be without content consumption, instead just to be able to let my mind wander, to brainstorm, to come up with ideas. Okay, and now towards the end, I really just created a whole new workflow. So I will basically be brainstorming in my downtime or when I'm relaxing and just writing down all those ideas and saving it and capturing it. Then I'm going to plan a content creation day, a set filming week perhaps, and then also a set day to check the metrics and performance of all of my old content. Then I am basically going to batch edit and just kind of batch what I need to do and also repurpose a lot of my content.
But by now you should know that I don't believe that anything will happen unless it is scheduled in a calendar, so that is also something I went to do. I went to create a whole new calendar in Google called my content creation workflow, and I just put all these items down to see what would really be realistic in my day-to-day life, just to help me with planning and to make sure that I actually do it, because if I don't see it, I will not remember all the work I did to try and improve this every single time. So now I'm trying to make it a routine and more of a habit to do it correctly. Or maybe not correctly, but better.
And that is really it. So if you have any comments or ideas of things that I could also implement or that I have missed, or any amazing tips that you would like to share with us, please let us know in the comments. And otherwise, I really hope this helped you and that you have an amazing day further. See you in the next video. Bye.